None? Okay, hearing none, minutes stand as written. Item number 1, Joel Miller, application to rezone 2.46 acres on the I-2 open industrial to roadside business, part of Section 20, Township 8 North, Range 13 East, Franklin Township, located in the southeast corner of Country Club Drive and State Road 350. Is anybody here for this application? Come on up. Take your name. Right here.
Joel is my son, and he bought the property, and so what he intends to do is use that for like a storage lot. He wanted to build a building on it, and then I guess it was zoned for industrial.
Yeah.
And the way it was zoned, I guess there was no way to put a building on it, so he's looking at getting it rezoned for commercial, I don't remember the name, commercial agriculture or something like that.
Roadside business.
Yeah. And so he was just hoping to get that rezoned for that purpose and possibly put up a building for storage and office space or something.
Okay. Do we know why this was zoned I-2 on such a small tract? Okay.
Back in the day, when it was only 5-foot setback, you could build on it. Today, it's 100-footer, no room.
Okay. And RB requires a special exception on top of a rezone when they come back in to do any certain use, right? Okay.
Any questions from the board? Okay, hearing none, you can have a seat and we'll open up to public comment. Is anybody in the audience that has a question, concern, or statement on this application, come on up and make it known. Okay. We'll close the public comment portion. This will be going to the commissioner, right? Yeah, with a favorable, non-favorable, or no recommendation at all. Any questions from the board? Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion, we send it to the commissioners with a favorable recommendation.
No, that motion is made that we send it to commissioners with a favorable recommendation. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor, make it known by raising your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Okay. Item number 2, Jeff French will be abstaining from. Steve and Rebecca Stein. Application for primary approval of Stein 2-lot rural subdivision, part of Section 34, Township 10 North, Range 12 East, Adams Township, 2 lots on 14.99 acres in the A2 district. Sue French.
My name is Sue French, representing Jeff French and Associates, speaking on behalf of Steve and Becky Stein. We're requesting approval of a 2-lot rural subdivision containing 14.9943 acres in Adams Township. The property is located on the south side of Bischoff Reservoir, near the dead end of County Road 400 East, 1.5 miles southeast of the city of Batesville. It is located in the A2 zone district. Lot 1 includes an existing home and all improvements. Lot 2 is currently unimproved. Both lots will share the existing paved drive and the shared access strip, which includes a maintenance agreement. Covenants are listed on page 2 of the plat. A hydraulic analysis has been performed, which shows that the storm water runoff increase is insignificant. The property will use Southeast Indiana REMC and Hoosier Hills Water. A highway department letter is in the file. Each lot meets all county requirements. All the adjoining landowners have been notified and the green cards are in Tad's file. Public notice has been published in the for sales paper. This plat meets all technical requirements. We would appreciate the approval of this plan. Do you have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay, we'll open up the public comment. If anybody's in the audience has a question, statement or concern about this application, come on up to the microphone and let us know. Hearing none, close public comment. Any other questions from the board? Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion we give primary approval for this.
Motion made that we grant primary approval. Is there a second? No, sir. Okay. Motion made a second. All those in favor, make known by raising your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, these proposed zone changes here.
Well, let's go to the application first.
Okay.
Something that can be
Great, yes,
voted on tonight.
okay,
The officers of the BZA, you know, we made it as possible. Back in January, we heard a variance request, and granted the request, we 10-foot from property line, and come to find out the addition of the building was on a agricultural ingress egress easement that was not on the deed.
okay,
So they said, you know, if everybody that applies for something has to come in and go to the recorder's office and search their property and bring us something, saying that there is nothing there, or there is,
Right.
we know.
right,
So, on the first page there, B12, we got a, you know, letter from the recorder.
okay,
The second page, nothing's changed. It's just been that way the whole time. The third page, is for everybody to read and understand that, you know, they are responsible to research their property and see if there's any covenants and restrictions. And I have cited the zoning code where if there are restrictions and covenants and we issue permit, that's not on us because we don't honor them.
okay,
We don't, you know, we don't permit, no way it violates any restrictions or covenants for the property.
okay,
And the town of Sunderland, in December, adopted this ordinance where anything, any permit, any variance, any special exception, rezone, anything, person comes here and applies, you go to the town board hears it, and sends us a recommendation, which clears everything up. And then the application instructions, the only thing we do there
right,
is just the highlight portion, we like any created, we need to survey. The page for the site plan is the same. The firefighter safety notification is the same. Got a checklist there.
With this change, is this something that, in order to vote on it, do we need to advertise
This
it
is
the
not,
next
this
meeting?
is procedural.
Just a procedural thing that we can vote on this tonight?
Then the very last page, we got the county reporter, and she says, this is what format she wanted.
Okay,
If you adopt it, you'd be glad to go by it, because she understands the issues.
okay,
And she said, now, they won't do title search.
right,
If it's something simple, they will look it up and research it, people. But if it's detailed, they can hire somebody, or they'll show them how to go in the library and research it on their own. They have to sign off one way or the other. There is or is not something on the property.
all right. Any questions, concerns from the board?
I'm wondering if on this last page, if somebody does a title search and goes deeper than just the recorder's office, should have something on there that says title report submitted or something like that, you know, to accompany the, because I don't think you can make the recorder certify
Someone else's work.
someone else's work. You know, I'm not sure how to get to that on this document, but
Yeah, I think that'd be putting the moniker of the next recorder, whoever that may be down the road, in a bit of a precarious position if she's not doing the search herself.
yeah. And if you think about, you know, not, that situation at Milan was a little different, but, or outside of Milan where somebody had an agricultural easement going across a piece of ground, but there's so many old REMC, Hoosier Energy, water company, SEI Communicate, telephone company easements that the recorder's never going to find.
What we're not asking to find, well, not that type of easement, not that utility so much, although that would have an effect. Yeah, I take that back, that would have an effect, never mind. Of course, everybody knows they probably can't build
You'd be surprised.
next to a pole within so many feet of
You'd be
power
surprised.
line, but.
Yeah.
Can I say something? You know, I mean, I'm-
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
If it's up to the homeowner to get the title and paid for, right? Why wouldn't he just put that ladder in with his paperwork for getting the permit? To tell you that here's the title search that I paid for, and here's what they found.
If it's within, what, a certain time limit, but if somebody brings in a title commitment And you know, the draft of the search of what the, let's say, Lynn Flutterman's office, you know, that does title work, Kristen Weiler, or Doug Wilson, or Doug Amber, you know, if they come in and say, well, it was done last year, I mean, could anything have changed since then?
Yeah, it could have.
I mean, if there's covenants to a subdivision, you'd think they'd show up pretty quick, cross-reference to the subdivision, the plat, the lots. But even searching his recorder's office isn't gonna be a dead giveaway.
No.
Just like in this instance, the easement was on the survey, but it didn't make it to the deed.
I wonder if this form maybe needs to say,
Yeah, I just think you have a hard time getting the recorder to certify everything.
Well, that's what, you know, if it's something very simple, they'll do it, if not, they're.
Right, right.
All we're asking the recorder to do is say if there's a covenant recorded,
Right, or easement.
or easement, right.
The easement's the problem.
If it's recorded, that should be something the recorder's office should be able to take in just a minute or two.
Sometimes,
but they're
both a problem.
That probably means they need to check,
With today's computer system,
Yeah.
they probably need to check not only the former owner's name, do a search for that, they probably need to search the adjoining property owners, you know, that's contiguous to it.
And see, that could be title searching then.
Yeah, not every, so those are, easements are filed and sometimes covenants are filed in miscellaneous documents
And cross-referenced back.
and should be cross-referenced back.
Should be, there you go.
And sometimes, not all miscellaneous records are available online in the system. I don't think they've scanned those all the way back at this point. Because you could get, you can get electric easements that are, creeping up on 100 years. So,
I don't know what just a basic title search would be and how many of those offices will do just a basic title search if they're not selling like a title commitment or a title insurance policy with it. But the last time I had one done, they were like $150, $175, so.
I just saw one that was $225.
Oh my gosh, they've gone up then. So bottom line is, you're putting a burden on them, but maybe that's what needs to be, to make sure they're not.
but don't most of your financial companies require a title search before they'll loan money on a piece of property?
If they've bought the property, sure. So if it's something that's, a permit's being requested within, is there a reasonable time to consider?
Gosh,
6
I don't
months?
know.
If it's within,
Because this one we're talking about was 10 years ago. So it ain't that long in the grand scheme
Yeah.
of things, but you got it long enough.
So,
who's actually gonna look back 10 years and think that that's an issue?
Exactly.
so a title search and easement search are two different things. A title search, when you buy your property, is going to disclose liens and encumbrances just back to a certain time period. And a lot of times today, that's 30 years. Am I right on
It
that?
used to be 50 years, and I think they backed it off to 30.
Backed them off to 30.
Because a lot of times judgment and liens aren't good after 20 years. They're no longer enforceable.
Yeah.
If that much time goes by and they haven't collected. But those easements, you're right, are perpetual.
I think whatever language we use, we can't hang it on the recorder to be solely responsible for that.
And I don't think you're asking for them to do that.
Yeah.
I think it's just another tool that you're giving somebody that's wanting to do the permit process, saying, hey, here, I done my due diligence and had this, it is recorded, it is not recorded, and, I mean, puts the burden on some,
What if you put the burden on the applicant
Well, that's what we're trying to do.
that's what I'm
to,
thinking.
and instead of the recorder to provide those things by whatever means, and then they state what those means
I
are.
think the idea was direct them to the recorder's office to at least do a cursory look and ensure there's nothing, but that may not be sufficient enough. It may not be thorough enough. And it is, I don't know that you can put that burden on the recorder to do a title search, nor do we want that responsibility, of her having to do that.
No, because that's just going to fall back on her if there's a screw up.
Yeah, and you can't, I mean, you can't sue a county employee or something like that for a discretionary error of that nature. That's protected under tort claims, just, But to get the effect that you're looking for, I suppose if the person had a title search done, and it was less than 60 days old, 90 days old, maybe that would suffice. That would be in lieu of something that says. But even a title search should catch that, but they may not either. Because like I
Right.
said, they're looking for liens and encumbrances and judgments. They should be looking for easements.
They should hit the covenants if they're in that
If they
30-year
were
search.
recorded and cross-referenced in any way, shape, or form. But I don't even know if they go back far enough to look at the actual subdivision plat.
I don't know. I don't think they would in many cases.
Maybe that's one that we shouldn't do yet. Maybe we should call Doug Lamberger and Lynn's office and Kristen Weiler. And I don't know, I thought Doug Wilson's office maybe still does title searches, but I'm not sure.
They do.
Do they? And then does.
You
Lisa
think the
Durant's
title search is gonna come up with the covenants?
The titles.
I don't think you're right.
So there's,
They shouldn't show a covenant.
there's two things. There's a title search and an easement search. A title search will show everything that occurred within that time period.
Should.
You flip to the back, look at Table A, and I think it's called Table A.
Usually if it's.
Well, I can tell you 4 cases in the last 5 years that a title search never brought up that the ag property or a wood timber sale didn't show up in any of their title searches. Because they call me and say, somebody's got a tractor in my field. And I said, well, they've got it leased and they're farming it. Well, they can't farm it. How am I going to make payments if I don't get to farm my own ground this year? Because the title search did not bring up, and those leases, those cash rents, have to be recorded.
If they're more than 3 years.
So I've had several phone calls on property that sold in February, March, April, and all of a sudden another farmer shows up and is farming the ground the guy thought he bought to farm.
Blame the guy for trying.
Well, that does happen because you usually gotta give notice before they put their fall application of fertilizer and tillage on. There's like a 3-month.
So they decide to sell the property in the spring, the fall termination date is passed. So I don't know that I've seen one or heard one that finds the covenants. That's what I don't think they look for. All they're looking for is liens against that property.
But they should
In general.
find it if there's a covenant that's recorded and cross-referenced, and/or cross-referenced.
But if it's recorded, then our recorder should be able to see it.
Depends on if it's under the name of the former property owner, 2 property owners back. I don't know, can she search just off of a parcel number? I would have the impression it's typically off of the name.
It's off the name, yeah.
The name of the current
Last known owner, probably.
last known.
Right, so that abstractor runs the chain of title by name
Back 30 years.
through the transfer books through 30 years. But if you've got a subdivision done before 1996, let's say, and they do a 30-year search, they're not going to disclose those covenants necessarily.
So it would be tied to a subdivision that you recorded for that subdivision, that's got all the parcel numbers.
What do you think the chances are for over 30 years ago, was there that many covenants?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I would think the Milan Golf Course Country Club was done around 95, 96. So
Covenants run perpetual with the land,
Unless they put a limit on it.
once they put a time limit on it.
So that's not carried forward necessarily with the paperwork when it's sold.
There's the problem.
sometimes it's on the plat, sometimes it's just.
So he issues a permit for a double wide in Milan. They said that's against the covenants. Well, there were no covenants presented. I don't think it's the planning department or building department that issues permits job to go back and see if there's covenants as long as that property existed. So we've had a lot with something built on it that probably shouldn't have been, and we had an easement miss. That's why this is coming up.
Yeah.
Because they're not catching this stuff.
But even this proposed list doesn't make the whole situation foolproof.
No.
I agree.
It's simply another hoop to jump through and another limited layer of protection.
And that's what we talked about, though, that it was gonna be easy. I mean, within 10, 15 minutes, a person could leave Tad's office, go down and have it done. It's not a financial burden on the property owner. Like if we required a title search, I wouldn't wanna do that if I put an addition on my house, if I know that, you know. So an ease of trying to make it easy for the homeowner and yet time feasible without putting time restraints on it.
And we're never gonna stop mistakes. I don't care how many
Especially if it's done
ordinance you
20 or
start.
30 years ago.
I mean, could we just, down here under deed book page date, it says, are there any covenants? Can we just say, are there any covenants recorded with Ripley County Recorder's Office? Or to the best of their knowledge, the Ripley County,
And when they say, I don't know if they're any recorded or not, well, run out there and find out.
And if they can't find them, they need to take the time to find it, to get a title search and confirm it, I think. It's the only way you're really gonna perfect that street.
But if that owner comes back and says, they said there's nothing recorded down there, and he signs off on it, and then if we go ahead and issue the permit, and then somebody steps up and says, hey, well, you know, we've done, as a building department, the county has done everything we possibly could to do our job, you know what I'm saying? Are we gonna be perfect every time? No, we'll never be. Okay, how many people you get involved, you know?
The title search goes back 30 years, but does it, I mean, that doesn't mean that the recorder needs to be restricted to 30 years.
Well, the recorder, if you ask the recorder to run a deed search, they will not do it for you. They'll tell you to hire a title company, an abstractor
And that's
to do
what they
it.
should do.
I mean, they'll give you your current documents. Or
Like the covenants, if you wanted to go back and look at that, they couldn't look at those, they couldn't look those up.
they could pull up the subdivision plat for you and see if they're on there, see if there's a cross-reference, and they would do that.
They could do that, and they'd probably search off the name of the subdivision, or the plat,
Yeah.
or the name of the prior owner, I would guess. I don't know if they'd want to go as far as to go with adjoining ones or not, but, I mean, you could have covenants on just a parcel lot that's not a subdivision.
Yeah.
So, But
Yeah.
if, I guess maybe did a search of the name and the prior owner and could not find any covenants. You know, it's, there's part of me that almost doesn't want to put this on Monica.
No.
Can't
No.
hardly recommend doing this.
But like I said, she was willing, she approved this.
That
This
she,
year, that she
she'd
would-
be okay with trying
Yes.
to look at that.
Yeah,
But there again, this
they're
is,
not taking
this
all
is
the-
not foolproof.
no, it's not.
but it helps protect Joe homeowner that doesn't know any better. At least it raises the question,
The
hey,
only-
you need to check if there's
Well,
covenants.
Todd, I
and
agree with you on that. It would basically say, look, you want to make sure you're not building, so if you're not 100% certain, you probably ought to check.
Because knowing this, it would at least say, oh, I probably ought to talk to my neighbor to make sure that there's nothing,
And
because most homeowners wouldn't even know.
I was just gonna bring that point up, but you beat me to the punch. Maybe it needs to be signed off by anybody who adjoins it. Now, obviously, it could be somebody across the road, but it's unlikely. But certainly, anybody that touches on the back or each side, if there were an easement across it, one of them should know about it. You know, that services access to that property. I mean, if the person that we're talking about would have talked to that guy that owned the property next to it, did he own the property? Well, behind it, but not next to it.
Right. Still an adjoiner.
Right. And that's, I think under those circumstances, maybe they should have
What-
it signed off by the neighbor. I don't know, I mean,
What if you take this thing and put I mean, you can say, you can ask the recorder to sign off that they visited their office maybe.
Right.
But the responsibility needs to be on the applicant or the person requesting it in some manner that,
Would it be beneficial for us to have a disclaimer there that says, you know, if you're not 100%, you know, for the homeowner to tell them,
I think that'd be fine.
at least help them, like Todd said, they probably wouldn't know that, you know, look at for the
Contacting and verifying with your neighbors and or the use of a title search
title search.
is advisable.
It's about, yeah.
yeah, something like that. Good.
And maybe just like you said, don't make where Monica's actually doing the search, but this person came in, we looked for him, nothing came up in a cursory review of
Yeah.
this property owner or the prior property owner. I mean, I don't know how far you want to force Monica to go looking back on everything.
Well, I don't think she'll look very far. I mean, she'll
She'll probably look at the current owner who just purchased it, and she'll look at the prior owner. But
That's about it.
the stuff could be back for moving that.
Yeah.
And it's not uncommon, I mean, when I prepare a deed, I try to put all the relevant information in unless it clearly isn't relevant. But right-of-ways, easements, whatever it's subject to, covenants, absolutely. I mean, most attorneys put that in a deed, or anybody that's preparing a deed, you know, but you'll have some people who prepare their own deeds and do stuff like that, and they might leave something out. Now, I think that's rare, but to say it couldn't happen, it could.
Yeah, and older deeds, it's not unusual to see a deed that just says Lot 35, Hillendale Phase 1,
Yeah.
period.
Subject to all recorded right-of-ways.
Subject to all easements.
All covenants,
Yeah.
easements, and right-of-ways of record.
Yeah, that's it.
What do y'all-
Real-
That be recorded to where you subdivision Hillendale, Lot 1A, would it be recorded on Lot 1A and anything tied to that, would that be recorded?
You would hope so.
I mean, you know, I mean, or-
Not guaranteed.
The subdivision right over here outside of town, I'm sure there's covenants there that's recorded. And when you punch in that subdivision number, or in the recorder's office, it's gonna list things, right? And that's been there how long?
It was on, 20-some years.
20-some years. So, I mean, I guarantee you, when you punch in that name of that subdivision, anything recorded is gonna pop up.
Yep.
And that don't mean, you know, you've got some places over there that's been sold 6 times in 20 years, or 10 times, you know? So you can't, I don't see how you can research by, keep names. When you record something, you record a deed number, a lot number, and a subdivision number, or a name.
But it means you would have to go back to the original source, like when that subdivision was created or a lot was created. You probably would need to go back that far to see if something was put in on that deed and was just dropped or forgotten to be added in, or people left that part of the original description, you know, the informational stuff that usually follows.
That's what I'm
a
not
real estate
understanding. If I build a subdivision, and I go in there and record my subdivision, okay? And I'd say, here's the covenants. That covenant is gonna stay there the rest of the life of that subdivision.
If it's,
And not the people.
You know what I'm saying?
If it is-
You're not filing it on people.
but bear in mind, some people, like Jeff said, they don't print the covenants on the subdivision plat, unless you want to make that a mandatory thing on a subdivision plat. Sometimes they have a separate recorded document, which is your covenants, that cross-references each and every one of those lots on that recorded plat.
But when you punch that subdivision name up, then everything that's recorded on that subdivision should be on file.
If it got cross-referenced properly, yes.
Now, Ronnie, there's one example I can give you that's not true. That Winter Circle up in Sun, them people up there, Mike might know about it, they looked for months trying to find Winter Circle covenants, couldn't find it. Cheryl called me, she said, why can't we find anything? What's on record? I said, because you're not looking under Holiday Homes, because they changed the name.
That's why it shouldn't be tied to a name.
It should,
It should have been tied to Winter Troy subdivision.
but the new owner changed it, and
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
The problem is the planning commission doesn't have any control over how people decide to prepare their legal documents and all this and that. And the bottom line is, if a legal document, like a deed record, a covenant, whatever, if it just meets the criteria for recording, it gets recorded, even though they may be using a different name or the name changed or something like that, and then all of a sudden you don't see this stuff, and it slips between the cracks.
Yeah, so think about if you look up Harvest Ridge subdivision,
I see no covenant.
well, you might find, you may, but you're probably gonna find 1,000 things under Harvest Ridge subdivision. You're gonna find every conveyance, every easement,
then the hard.
5 or 6 plats.
You gotta know which phase you're looking for, 'cause there's 4 phases.
You gotta know which phase. It's not a quick
All of
look.
them have the same covenants,
No,
do
they don't.
There you go.
Yeah. The other thing that happens is a large subdivision, this little subdivision, Stein, 2-lot rural subdivision has 20 covenants, or 15 covenants. You can put those on the plat. If you have a set of covenants and an HOA, or a property owners association, then you're probably gonna have a book that's gonna be in a miscellaneous record, because you're
And that's fine.
gonna have multiple
But when
pages.
you flag a subdivision, and all it would have to say as far as getting a permit is if they are recorded covenants.
Yep.
It don't have to say what it all is. If you know there's a covenant, then Somebody's gotta show you what it is.
Right, they've got to be provided to the building department.
Right,
No.
and I mean, if we knew, if the building department knew there was a covenant, then red flags goes up and say, we can't issue a permit until we know everything that's on that covenant. You go find out and get a copy of that covenant,
Yeah.
and let them prove that.
Right, it's just that the recorder may not be able to quickly, easily find those, and they may turn it over to a title company.
Right, and I mean, that's, all the recorder needs to tell us is, are they recorded a covenants, or are they not? And then that should be click, 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 and there it is. We don't need to know what all is on the covenants. When we see there's a covenants, you put a red flag up, say you're not getting a permit until we know what covenants it says. Then that way you know, if you see the covenants, what's listed, then you know you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that. So, if you want to do what the covenant says, we'll give you a permit.
Yeah.
Should 12 not have a yes or no?
It's good.
Because if it's not part of a subdivision, you're not gonna go look for covenants.
No.
So is that kind of in the game plan?
Yeah, but if it's not a subdivision, then that's exactly the thing that brought that thing to life.
Well,
the easement.
I'm
That was
not
just a
saying,
parcel
I'm
offline.
not saying get rid of looking for the easements, but you're not worried about covenants. Nobody put covenants on a one-lot split.
I would think
They do.
Well, I'm not saying nobody.
Yes.
Well, guess what? If it's a one-lot split and I'm buying that one lot and I'm the only HOA guy,
Right.
I'm probably not gonna have a big complaint.
But they do put them, they'll be at the bottom of the deed typically. You'll see some conditions or covenants on the bottom of that deed. They'll say,
But if Joe Smith sold me 2 acres and it ain't part of a subdivision because he wanted me to build a big house on his land in the future, that's not binding.
The only thing to what you're saying it is, when I parceled some of my ground off, 1999 or whatever, one was a rural subdivision, the other 2 were separate lots, and then there was a 2 separate lots. And if I'm not mistaken, I put the same covenants that I put on that rural subdivision on every lot I sold individually.
put them right at the tail end of the description.
You know,
So that's another thing that's got to be evaluated when they bring that stuff in, is to see if there's any language at the end of that deed.
That's where they get left off at.
Sometimes, yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Is there,
Because they're not.
unless I'm missing something, there are 3 places you need to look. You need to go to the recorder's office, you need to look at the deed, you need to look at the survey or plat, right?
Or plan.
Can you list those 3 things on here?
One can
Right
do
the
that.
very first, they're buried in here. These are the 3 places you need to look, and then go in
well,
to the
like
rest.
Jeff said, it's being miscellaneous records, 2 cross-references. So I don't know if the person would say the recorder has, assisted me in searching this, and this.
But the survey, they all need to agree.
It should.
We had the problem where they didn't agree.
That's true.
Yeah.
Which would almost force them to look at an adjoining property owner's deed.
I had property in Muncie, and I was cleaning out the backyard, there was a fence, wrought iron gate, everything back there. The neighbor said, that was a utility easement? And I said, no, I never knew it. So the neighbor knew.
So how do you want to proceed on this? You guys want to look at this as a tech review and come up with?
Maybe we ought to have a little.
Yeah,
look at it.
I think you just can't put the responsibility on the recorder. You got to put it on the person who's,
Yeah, that-
on the owner to acquire it through whatever means necessary.
I don't think it is that on the recorder. They're not certified.
Well, that's the
They're
very
just gonna tell
first
you
thing that says that there's
something.
responsibility of homeowner/contractor.
Okay.
I just wanted the reporter office to sign off so we know that they went down there.
Right, absolutely.
And could you put a disclaimer right above their signature line? There are no,
They're not responsible.
there's no, to the best of our knowledge, there's no recorded easements or covenants with this piece of property. But this is not absolute, should actually, if there's any question in the homeowner's mind, there should be a title search.
Right.
And contacting the adjoining property owners to determine if there's any easements or covenants known of or not of record.
Well, if you put that.
But if they're not of record,
Covers what you were saying.
They're not enforceable in my
No,
mind.
wouldn't know where to, what's
That's a lot of people that
What's the
just don't
title?
know.
What's the
Right,
title?
if you go to the recorder and they say that there's nothing filed, we're done.
Well, but they're looking at it from the best knowledge they have available,
I-
but
I
it
get
may
that,
not be
but
deep
then,
enough.
You know, that's what I'm saying, they've done their job. We've done, we went a step further than we was to try to protect this stuff,
Right.
you know, now. You know, I
That
guess-
becomes a fine line, Rodney. Where do you draw the line? How much do we have to basically, what's the word I'm looking for?
Hold people's hand.
Yeah,
I mean,
to some
it's
degree.
not-
With ownership of property comes a fair amount of responsibility to, to verify what you're doing is correct and to ensure that your property rights are protected.
But I think as an department, we've got a little bit of stuff, things that we need to do as an department as far as, protecting a developer in a subdivision when it comes in. Or, I don't know, however, how else to say that.
Ordinance running across you because of this easement.
There you go. I mean,
Yeah. The easement was on one person's deed,
No, no.
but he was on the,
like I said, we're not gonna stop at it. A lawyer that forgets to put it on the deed, how you fix it?
well, I'm not sure, but there the issue was the dominant easement, the guy who got to use the easement, it was on his deed, but it wasn't on the serving landowner's deed.
Even though it was on survey.
I mean,
The survey may have revealed it.
It did.
If they,
It was very
right,
clear.
so if they would've went back and checked the survey,
If I'm gonna say they didn't, they just went off their deed.
and one would think that should be a legal accurate document, but,
you've got two landowners side by side there, and I think they might have been part of easement on this one and part of easement on this one, but it was, I don't know,
well, there was a small easement for a cemetery, as I recall.
but it wasn't put on the deed of the last fire,
Right.
so.
Yeah.
Okay, would the board be comfortable tweaking a couple of those things and bring it back next week?
Yeah.
Vote on it next week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Either way.
Maybe
This
discussion.
week, wordsmith it.
All right, these proposed zone code changes.
That's just things that have been kicked around for years, discussed. No decision was made tonight anyway, they are code things,
Right.
just for everybody's amusement. Kick that around.
Right.
Discuss maybe at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it seems like, yeah, we should do this, or no,
Because the commissioners had requested to see this 2 meetings ago, and they're all in favor of it.
Okay. All right, now everybody take a look at that over the next month and if anything striking, like, we got.
I guess the thing is, if there's questions, concerns, contact Adam, bring it up, and we'll talk about it, text you, and
If it's good,
then maybe a person can try to.
we have to, this will be something we have to.
We'd have to.
Oh, yeah,
We have to
advertise.
advertise this, yes.
And these are all pretty much gonna be generally applicable across the board, for the entire county, so
Okay.
publication will be done.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
my report there in writing.
The other thing, Dave, you heard us talking about, we had an email from HWC, so over the last couple of months, Tad and I had both talked to HWC, who's doing our comp plan, and said, what would it cost to do to revise, update our ordinance? And they gave us a quote, $60,000,
Well, that's 64.5.
$64,000.
Well, that's just for the zoning and subdivision control. They want another 89 something to do the solar, battery storage, and data centers.
It was another 10,000, right?
89 something. It'll round up.
100, not 1,000, right? 8,900?
100, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're saying 89 something, that could go either way.
Okay.
That's not necessarily something we got to deal with now. It's just something that probably needs to follow the comprehensive plan.
Right.
And probably put it in a budget or the council's ear.
But, yeah, we need to start pushing council a little bit,
If anything.
get it on the 27, maybe put it on the 27 budget.
And there could possibly be some Okra money for that.
I believe you're right.
There's, I think it's between 50 and 60 that they will apply for.
That-
But at the last commissioner meeting just yesterday, they told me, hold up on the zoning and subdivision, we only want solar, BESS, and data centers at this time.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, they also wanted me to get a hold of Bass and Gasper out of Indianapolis, and I got correspondence from them back today that they want to do video conference, talk to Mark Horton, he's president of the commissioners.
Okay, and what's that for?
The same thing, they wanted more than one quote,
Okay, so that's another another planner?
legal firm in India.
So the 8,900, that wasn't an add-on. They'll do just the solar and battery.
Well, that's
storage
what I
for that.
requested, that was an add-on over and above the 60.
I don't know. That's-
So will they do it that cheap if,
I don't know.
if that's the one job we give?
Well,
I didn't know if that question was asked.
Yeah,
Special price of $59,900.
yeah, they were gonna do it while they were here doing the rest of it. They won't do it standalone for that.
It's like a Happy Meal.
It's probably a good question to ask them, what will they charge us to just do that?
Well, I've requested that, but I haven't got a response yet.
Have you publicized
In the paper,
in the paper,
on the website,
on the website? Okay.
I've got 2 applications so far.
Have you advertised on the planners' websites?
No, I haven't. I don't, I'm not certain how to do that.
What's
I
that?
don't have a subscription to any of that stuff.
Okay, well, would you mind calling Nicole Alexander? She gave us those links and indicated that it can be posted. There is a fee. When Steve and I went to county council, they told us there is money available for advertising positions. I don't know. But there's definitely a fee for posting on those sites. I don't know how to do it either. I don't know if you have to be a member.
The way I
do that?
understood it, I don't know, I will check with her.
Yeah. Are you a member?
No, but I'm gonna probably become a member.
We were all members at one time on this.
Yeah, it's $179 a year for the group, and then I think it's $78 or $79 per member.
We were members until they decided to pull that money.
Yeah.
Everybody on the plan commission?
Everybody on the plan commission, everybody on the BZA
And
So
who
do
pulled the
we-
money? They can.
council, out of the budget.
When Simon got
Well, I
hired.
think it's it's well spent, because I think you get that networking, and you, just like we was talking here, like with the Ochre grants and stuff, I think they do beneficial, they tell you what's coming down the pike.
I mean, it might be something where we got to buy the membership to be able to advertise it, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
On the Ochre stuff, we talked to like Jody Comer or somebody on that.
Yeah, that would be you could do SIRPC, you could talk to them, they could help you get that rolling with what you gotta do, I'm sure. Well, the first thing though, I don't know, since to qualify for some of the other grants, you have to have a comp plan done, so I don't know how.
It's going to be completed real shortly.
Right, so I mean,
Okay,
I
yeah.
think though that I
She
think
would probably be able to give us the
she'd be able to
direction
get us
on
the
what
directions
we're-
to
yeah.
find out where.
Okay.
Yes, sir, she can work on it.
Yep.
And when you guys went to county council, I watched the meeting, but I missed it, because I thought one of the things we was gonna ask for was if time lapsed and we didn't have anybody hired, or if we could hire somebody earlier, was there funds available to either pay for?
The overlap. I
Yeah,
think they-
pay for either Tad to sit in longer till we get somebody hired, or,
They told us, when you have somebody ready to hire, come to us, we'll call a special meeting. But
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
They said, we'll call a special meeting and we'll let you know if we will approve that money for that person. It's a little scary. But
right, 'cause
We'll let you
everything I
know
heard
if
was
we're-
all
we'll let you know
about
if
the
we're gonna
wages.
approve.
I didn't hear anything about overlap or consultant fee or.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
They-
they would
They
not.
weren't exactly open up the checkbook and said, yeah, whatever, you know, there was some rules, I mean, some money we had to kind of stay within.
They need to know it's not 1920.
Okay, so what do we need to do to get advertised, Tad, on the planner's website?
I'll check with Nicole and see what that.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right, anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right.
I do want to say I did attend the last tech review, and it was very informative for a new member. I learned a lot.
You know, Doug mentioned that when we were walking out of that tech review, that there wouldn't be a bad idea to do some quick educational bits. Talk about zoning, we talked about subdivision control, we talked about
Well, the night was pretty
about the table that we all live by that's got setbacks. But when we have short meetings, it might not hurt. Give a 10-minute review on some of that stuff.
Absolutely.
So
So if I do one on quality development, are you gonna sit in on it?
On what?
If I do one on quality development design, are you gonna sit in on it?
You gonna, is there gonna be food,
I'll
Jay?
teach it.
Is he gonna bring food?
That won't happen.
John, they did, none of those people had that ordinance or had those books on the fire association on that. They do not. They do not. But when I talked to Ben Sieverty, he thought Batesville Fire might. I have not had a chance to call him.
I know Brian part of that, I wonder if Brian, he's a fire chief.
He would be able to.
Thinking I might not make
For
it
some
back.
reason, he thought that they had all of it. And fire. He thought that they might. Okay.
I'll try.
I even got a hold of my guy in Bloomington. He goes, no, they cut that from my budget. All right.
Well, if we get an outsider to do it, they probably ought to have it.
Yes,
That's what it sounds
exactly,
like
exactly,
they do.
exactly. And that would be something that we could include in that, in that comp plan, that we could ask that to be part of the comp plan, and that they could research.
Well, they don't probably do much for us unless we hire them to do that.
Right, right.
Well,
And I do know that we work the county community foundation has some extra monies. I just went off their board and they've got some other monies.
He's good, I'll tell you.
did you forget you were supposed to stay?
Well, I was just moving down. I didn't want to sit down here all by myself.
Good, how are you?
Good. I think.
Yeah.
So far, anyway, huh? Good. Right.
Well, I mean, do you have anything affected right to them? I mean, hey, John.
Yeah, probably just on this one, you might extend, step back. Right.
All right.
I guess.
We'll stand for the pledge of the flag.
Still got a form here. Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I make a motion that approve minutes as written.
Okay, second.
You're gonna go ahead and abstain of this first one?
Yeah.
So, just step back in real first. All right, our first one is Matt and, is that Meredith?
Meredith.
Meredith Gill. Address 2540 East Highway 48, Summit, Indiana. Section 22, Township 9, Region 11, Delaware Township. 14.9 acres, A2. Surveys available. Located in the recorder's office in 2703. Type of variance, width to depth. Variance from 333 feet to 139.49. Jeff, you're up.
All right, my name's Jeff French. I'm a land surveyor speaking on behalf of Matthew and Meredith Gale. We're requesting approval of a width-to-depth variance on the Gale property, which is located on the south side of County Road 950 North, which is northeast of Napoleon and just west of Highway 229. This tract and the adjoining tracts were all owned by the Gale family for many years. They were divided for estate purposes in 2021, and those divisions were made in a way that best fit the topography, but also met code entirely. Gale now wishes to divide the 3-acre tract, which is kind of this piece up here. The Gales wish to divide the 3-acre tract so they can be added onto their father's property, which is all the land to the east, and that's Jim and Rachel Gale. And they currently occupy the whole north end of that 3-acre tract. The 3-acre division leaves 14.90 acres, which is out of compliance for width to depth. Now, this is kind of an odd scenario because even though the county has changed our rules to allow one-lot rural subdivisions without going through a public hearing, this tract has 139 feet of frontage. The county minimum frontage is 100 feet for a normal split, so we meet our road frontage requirements. And if you do an ag sub, you don't have width to depth requirements. You can go down to 50 feet, but you have no limit. However, Tad and I talked about this and thought it should go through as a variance because it kind of falls in the gap between a rural subdivision and a normal split. And it does not meet the 4-to-1 ratio. The tract meets all planning and zoning requirements except for the width to depth ratio because the total depth of the property is just at a quarter mile or about 1,335 feet. If you look at an aerial map of the area, the larger area, you see that there are a number of other tracts that have similar width to depth standards. We believe we meet all the criteria, and I've addressed all those criteria on a separate letter. I'll read those if you like, or you can look over them yourself.
I think that'd be good. Board got any questions for him?
No.
All green cards and proof of publication are in Tad's file. We believe we've met all the criteria for approval. We did add, I don't know if your drawing shows it, but we have added building setback lines so that we clearly show that you can't build in that front 135 feet, which is normal, but we just added it for a little extra benefit. I'd appreciate your approval of the plan. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Thank you. No questions for him from the board? All right. Maybe sit down, we'll ask, or anybody here from the public got any questions? All right, we'll bring it back to the board, motion one way or the other.
Well, I did have a quick, that's a creek running through there?
A ditch, small creek.
So is it a waterway through soil and water? Like is it a registered waterway?
No, it's a ditch, they mow it.
Oh, gotcha. So if they wanted to put in a driveway there with that remaining spot, there wouldn't be no issues?
No, as far as I know, there wouldn't be. I can show it to you on an aerial. You can't clearly see it.
Because basically, you take that
That's
3
not a
acre.
creek, that's just a waterway, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, it's just a little.
I mean, on the one, on
On this
yours,
drawing,
it
it says
says
creek.
creek. That's what just got me thinking.
It's not Lawfrey Creek, it's
Okay.
Right.
it's just a small drain.
It's
that
just
goes
your
through
water head from there.
Yeah. I mean, it probably flows to Lawfrey Creek eventually.
But none of that, this doesn't have to have a letter from the highway
This
department.
does not require a letter from the highway department or for farm services. It's not a subdivision. If it were a subdivision, we'd have those statements on the plat. This is a variance to allow not to allow the 3 acres, but to allow the remaining 14 acres.
Right.
Which is what's out of compliance with width to depth.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yes. We need a motion.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay,
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks, Jeff.
Rick, yeah, you can come back.
Nice and dark and cozy it is.
All right, next one up, Mark Steinkamp, 185 East Salem Road, Batesville, Indiana. Section 13, Township 9, Lawfrey Township. Proof of ownership. Acres involved 2.40. Agricultural first zone. Type of variance is reduced east side setback from 20 feet to 10 feet. So Ed, tell us what you got planned.
I'm wanting to put up a 40 by 60 pole barn. The aerial pictures, got that.
They all got copies of those.
What's that?
They got copies.
Okay.
Yeah, we do.
There's a swing set there. You can see the wood pile in the back. I actually have a fence along that now. And if I maintain the 20 feet to the east, I'll only have 34 feet. And I was wanting to shift that 10 feet to give me a little more room for down the road, either putting a porch on that building after I get it done, or a lean-to depending on usage for it, but it's just going to be cold storage.
Board got any questions? So that pond's back behind that swing set then, eh?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep, it's approximately, the front of the building will be between 150 and 153 from the road.
So it's gonna be built right in here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
he's coming off the front, the gravel.
Okay.
How long have you owned this property?
2008, sir.
To the best of your knowledge, there's no utilities or anything over that way?
No,
It's all-
I actually had it resurveyed on that side to make sure I was on the property line too, but there is no utilities in there. As far as I know, power lines are on the road, and I've checked with that, so.
Dude, maybe that's sufficient lawn.
There's not much in
David's
it.
still here.
Yeah.
That's sufficient lawn.
Yeah, what kind of fish you got?
work for.
Do they want to know?
Yeah.
Duke Energy.
Duke Energy.
Yeah. Line-
He's
Decatur?
utility easements.
Yeah.
What's that?
Decatur or?
No, you got a Greensburg.
Duke.
Oh,
I'm Duke, yeah.
Yeah, but there's a Decatur Duke too, out of Greensburg.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll close it to the board, put it to the public. Come on, Jeff, say something. All right, we'll close it and bring it back to the board for a motion one way or the other.
I'll make a motion that we grant the variance to go from 20 feet to 10 feet on the side setback.
Okay, all in favor? And then the next thing on our paperwork is number 3 is the fee schedule, which I don't think we're ready to try to talk about that too much right now, all right? I guess my question
Did you
is,
go to that meeting?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
tech review,
Yeah.
but I don't, was that brought up?
No, it has to come here, so it's coded. So I mean, it's been advertised, public, so I mean, it can
Okay.
be discussed tonight, it can be voted on tonight, it can be tabled.
I guess, I don't know if I feel comfortable enough to spit out a number. I don't know if any of us is.
Well, I did,
Hang on, Jeff.
I did look into it, as far as surrounding counties and just kind of the Indiana average. And I really think that we need to tie it to the size, whether we do it per kilowatt or megawatt, because they're saying that it takes 5 to 7 acres for 1 megawatt. So if we tied it to either that or an acreage, that's kind of the two things that I've seen around the state. Kind of like what you showed us about the size.
What was some of the fees that you seen?
It depends on the size of them. So usually they categorize them in 3 categories. You have small, medium, and a large. So then like your small, right now, do we have any, like these guys that are putting solar panels on their house?
That's not a part of this, this
Yeah.
is for your commercial.
This
So
is commercial.
is that just, but that raised the question in my head, is that just an improvement permit right now?
Yeah, that, which is electric upgrade.
So they're just, basically our regular fee
Yeah,
then?
yeah.
Okay, because then once we got up to the medium, a lot of places was 41 kilowatts to 1 megawatt. So that would be your 5 to 7 acres or smaller. And usually that permit fee was around $100. Like it still wasn't much. I mean, what is our improvement permit?
But are they a monthly fee, a yearly fee?
It was just a one-time permit fee,
Okay,
is what a lot of them have. They don't have residual income off of it. And then the large was anywhere from 1 megawatt to 4 megawatts, and there was anywhere floating around $1,000 for the permit.
and how many acres would that be? That would be
Basi-
4 times this, so it'd be 20
20
to 40 acres.
Yeah.
20 to 40 acres.
So that was just a one-time fee, Todd?
Yeah,
You said-
on those.
Okay.
What I,
the yearly.
I mean, is that something we can do?
Well, you could do that, but you might also want to take a look at the DGLF, because there's a different rate of assessment on farmland
right.
that's used for commercial solar. I think in 2023, it was like 5,000 something an acre in southern Indiana. Last year, if you look on their website, it was like 7,000 something. And for this year, it's 20,000.
So it's skyrocketed. What's that called? DGLF?
Department of Local, DLGF, Department of Local Government Finance. If you search on there, I think that's, again, we haven't seen it here because there's no commercial solar in this county.
But that's where that has the state broken into 3 regions, right?
Yeah, and actually, we're just as high now, I think, as the central or the north. I mean, south was always cheaper than the
Yeah,
west.
because I had seen the 7,000 number. It was like
That was
7,
for
9,
20
and
that was
12.
for 2025, but I think the newest thing now, from what I understand, at least what I looked at, seems to be 20,000. And I encourage you to go look at it yourself, because, you know, some people may think that
I'm gonna bring
I'm
up,
still conflicted in some way,
Yeah.
but I'm not
No,
providing any
no.
type of option or lease or anything like that.
I got a question I wanna bring up. So, just say we do a 100-acre field in solar panels. What, as far as your ordinances, or our ordinances, I know they gotta put up a bond for cleanup and this and all that kind of stuff. Are we gonna have a yearly inspection? Or a twice yearly inspection?
We talked about that.
It was-
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
It was it was wrote up in the code when we looked at there last month about it has to be inspected by a third party. Because we didn't feel like we didn't want to put that on our building inspector. We wanted it on somebody that
Well,
deals with solar.
but let me ask you this, I mean, as far as, I can see once yearly inspector from a third party as far as the megawatts and all that kind of stuff. But maybe, the county inspector would go out once a year, or I would say once a year would probably be sufficient, and just kind of drive through the grounds and make sure that, you know, it's not getting unsightly. Does that make sense? You know, I mean, you know, let's try to do our best to keep it as our ordinance are wanting us to, as far as with the screenings and all that kind of
Right.
stuff, you know.
That would help, yeah.
So
With the
you see-
vegetation.
right.
Well, and if they know you're gonna be doing that
They'll
too,
keep it up
that,
there.
yeah, well,
Exactly, you know.
and that's where it comes in, and what Jeff was saying, and I agree, where you have, if you could have an annual fee, it didn't have to be exorbitant, but
No.
if you just had something to cover the basic,
And I
those
mean, you
costs.
know, and I'm gonna throw this out there. If we would do $250 a year, that would cover an inspection, a yearly inspection as far as site and any other thing that our inspector would wanna take a look at and blah, blah, blah. And then he can bring it back and report it to you guys or whoever. And say, hey, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, okay? That would cover that, you know, an hour or whatever that takes. As far as, there again, you know, now when we get into monthlies and all of that, you know, I guess that maybe this guy from Duke could help us a little bit there as far as, you know, if, is Duke talking to any solar farms or anything like that as far as around their substations, or is that all Hoosier Energy?
No, they were, I mean, I'm a lineman, so I really don't have any say in it, but I know they were going back trying to hit some of the individual farmers that were wanting to do it up there. I know that all got shut down and
Right,
back around it, but I've been hearing they're talking to individuals, but see, I don't think Duke really, it's all subbed out. I don't think they want to own it.
Right.
They just want to get somebody there and then tie it back in.
And they want that option, and it's coming, guys, I don't care what we say, there's gonna come a time where we've gotta start producing more electric, okay, I mean, than what we've got now. If it's nothing more than, you know, our old power plants are starting to fail, you know, I know they keep them up and all that. You know, I just think that with all the electric stuff that's coming out and these we're gonna come to a point where, you know, we're not gonna be able to handle everything that's coming at us. So, you know, and they've been talking about little nuclear stations and,
SMR, small modular reactor.
yeah, okay, I mean, and it's, something's gonna happen and probably in our lifetime, yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so,
I'll be upfront. I mean, it was on the news last week where the military transported an SMR on one of their cargo planes, and I think the idea behind that is, hey, if we have an operating base, a forward operating base, these are safe enough, we can actually transport a small nuclear reactor for generating power.
They do it on stuff.
right,
This is my take on it. If you read any of the internet stuff, the Secretary of Department of Energy, the Deputy of Energy, her last name's Janorowski, Governor Braun appointed her. She's a person that basically is in favor of all forms of energy. And let's face facts. From what I read, you know, you think about Chernobyl, you think about what could have happened to 3 Mile Island, you think about what happened to Fukushima. These small ones, based on my read, again, and I'm getting most of my information from the internet, so please bear in mind, what can we truly believe on the internet?
right.
But it talked about that the exclusion zone minimum, kind of, for large-scale nuclear power plants is like 10 miles. Obviously, with Chernobyl, that probably should have been 50 miles, because it burned after it opened up and spewed radiation for several hours and days before they could do much.
Contain it, yeah.
Long story short, what I read about the SMRs, it's about a half a mile. So if something catastrophic happened, you're looking at about a half mile exclusion range. So, but they're gonna have to have more of them. They're gonna be more regional, you know. Maybe they'll put them near the largest substations that are already in existence. Who knows? Maybe they'll build new power plants. But you think about it. Everybody says, oh, we don't want this alternative energy, or we don't want this. I understand that. Nobody wants anything next to them. Everybody wants the data that data centers can provide. Everybody wants to turn on their light switch, but nobody wants it in their backyard. It's that simple. I do think that if nuclear can be proven to be safe, functional, operational, it's very efficient, probably the most efficient of all of them. But think how long it may take to get America to believe that it's safe to have an SMR within a couple miles of it.
Right.
They're going to have some time and some history for that to occur. I think the first operations of it are obviously in the military. That's where all our great technology comes from.
Oh, yeah.
Military development, NASA, all that stuff.
Yeah.
When we make our greatest strides when we're in war. Typically, you know, when we see the need for something, we decide we're going to do it. What these alternative energy forms mean, even though they're not the world's most efficient, they're probably not only to be a tool in the toolbox right now, but they're probably to bridge that 20 to 30 year gap.
Right.
Well, that's the solar
Between
panels
now
are really good.
and between SMRs, nuclear power being a fully functioning thing across the U.S. would be my guess. That's my take on it. That's my own personal opinion. Don't take it for anything more than that, you know.
Right.
But based on what I'm reading, I find it odd that the lifespan of the solar panel is anywhere from 30 to 40 years, you know, with their most efficient period being probably in the first 20 to 25. And then after that, it's just like, yeah, they work, but maybe not as good.
Like an LED light bulb, it goes down to 80%.
So, what, as you go forward and whatever's determined to be proper setbacks and stuff, so be it, that's your decision, you still have local authority over that. But, as far as licensing or annual fees and stuff like that, you're welcome to, I tried printing this, but if you go to 2026 solar land use rates, basically, this came out from the DLGF on November 17, 2025. It breaks the state into three. I mean, it was in place before. At this point, the north for 2025, $18,856 per acre assessment. Central is $26,141.
How much was that?
For Central is $26,141, and for the South, $20,000.
Okay.
So if it goes in, from what I understand, when I first read about this in 2023, they don't tax just the specific spot where the solar is, it taxes the entire parcel of land. And based on my knowledge of what these leases say, most leases have said the landowner pays the taxes based on the assessment that it was as farmland, because it's still farmland underneath.
Right.
So they pay that. But any increase in the assessed valuation of the land, plus any of the equipment that they place upon the land, typically the solar
So
energy
this,
company
say this
bears
20,000,
that.
is that per year, per acre, or is it?
Right now, that's the assessment that they're stating, if I'm reading this correctly.
That's what your taxes would be being charged, just like the
That
assessor
would
would
be
be
the
doing.
assessed valuation.
Yeah, so now,
So-
if you had 1,000
What is the tax
acres,
rate
that's
like for-
$2 million, right?
I think it's $28 an acre for farm ground.
Well, to farmland, it pays depending on if it's woods, pasture.
Right, it's-
Quality of the ground, its production level. Runs anywhere from maybe like, what, $1,200 to $2,200 an acre?
For
I
assessment.
think
I don't
that's the ballpark, that's your
Yeah.
range, if I'm not mistaken, or it's pretty close to that. Ripley County property tax rate's 2025, which is cool.
Let me rephrase the yearly fee that I want or requesting. That's fine if it's being taxed up to $20,000 a year. Great, but if that company comes in and they're tax exempt, they won't pay nothing. So I think there should be a fee in case they become tax exempt. The farmer's still paying the regular ag
But how can a company be tax exempt?
electric company is.
But are they, I mean, is the electric company putting these in? I mean, are they doing it?
Whoever, might be another organization with a 501c, I don't know, they can do it.
So.
The governor can sit there and say they're tax exempt.
Maybe the Department of Revenue in Indiana can determine if an entity is tax exempt for state purposes. The IRS determines for federal, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. But if it's considered farm, why can't they? Because a farmer can be tax exempt.
A farmer can be tax exempt?
Yeah, you're tax exempt if you farm, yes. I've had to pay property
No,
taxes.
only on sales tax.
I had to pay, on sales tax, I do not have to.
Right, but we still pay property tax.
Okay, example, Town of Osgood, Town of Sales are tax exempt.
Right,
Pay
they don't
taxes.
pay, I know they don't.
Governmental entities.
Right,
Yeah.
Duke Energy is a private company. They're on the New York Stock Exchange.
so they'll,
That's a for-profit company.
I'll check it, but as far as I know, like
Now, I just know
Southeastern
about
RMC is a nonprofit because they got
RMC
a
would be
board.
AMC's exempt, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, but they're not-for-profit, are they? I mean.
Well,
RMC is
they're in
not-for-profit.
business- They're
I
in
think because they're a
business to make
co-op,
a
I think
profit.
there's something there that they could have.
They're
That I
non-for-profit.
couldn't answer with certainty. I don't know how
That,
they work.
their
it.
that fiber stuff, I mean, I don't see how that's not, you know,
The government paid for most of that anyway, so.
I know, but I mean,
I'm pretty sure they're tax exempt because they're a co-op because they have a board. I don't know about Duke. I don't know if they got a board or not. It works a different with Duke and probably with Houston.
but now, even if they're tax exempt,
Yeah.
So they have a board of
Yeah.
directors and
Yeah.
they have chief operating officers, chief financial officers, chief executive.
I'm just wanting to cover our butts in case it can, and they
Yeah.
can get out of paying anything, is what I'm getting at. If we have a fee, if they're paying normal taxes, like you're saying, up to 20,000,
what would the
That's
county
fine.
what would the county get out of that
Bear
20,000?
in mind, they're not paying 20,000 taxes, they're paying tax based on an assessed value.
above the regular value.
Just-
I understand,
I'm
I
pretty clear
understand.
on that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, on that, if they, assess that at 20,000 an acre, you know, what are they gonna pay, $1,000 an acre of taxes?
Well, I'm trying
Well,
to,
I
I don't know, but it says, does $1.26 to $2.32 per hundred sound right? of assessed
It could
value?
be, I would say a closer
I thought.
assessment would go by Decatur
farmers?
County Farm Ground, because I think they've sold some up there for 18 grand
Yeah,
anyway,
fine.
so, or more.
Hang on, tax chart, 2004 payable in 2005. Come on. This isn't showing it for some reason.
I'm just looking on covering their butts.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they don't have to have a
that's
fee
it.
if they're paying taxes. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
But-
And I mean, what's, on a piece of property, what's the county use? I know the school gets the bulk of it. All right. Does the
boy,
county get
I don't
2%,
know. 2% maybe?
6%?
I'm not sure.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
That's a great question to ask, though.
you know,
I mean,
But still, you're still getting extra dollars for the schools, so
right.
that would lower,
I mean, I do
Main
believe that
taxes.
we need to figure something in for inspection once a year at least,
yeah.
you know,
we can always-
and then what other kind of, money would the county incur by having this facility in the county? Does anybody know how to answer that?
I guess one of my questions is, and this is something when I wanted to look this up, was for fire protection. Now, there's gonna be some specialty things for the fire departments they're gonna need to fight these fires.
We had talked about that in the ordinance when we first drafted it up, that the company would be responsible for training our local fire departments, whoever's on that fire service, and then providing any
And I-
new technologies or
Or
anything that.
equipment that would be needed for
Yeah.
that.
And
Okay.
I
It
think
was,
that's,
we had talked about that in.
there's some of that's just starting up right now as far as with the batteries. You know, how, you know, you just can't go spray them down.
You're gonna let 'em-
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I think we still got some questions to talk about a little bit. You know, I don't think this is gonna happen tomorrow. I mean, as far as somebody coming in and saying, hey, let's put this solar field here, but like
I
I
had
said,
seen it somewhere, I don't know, once again, it was on the internet, but 72 counties in Indiana has a moratorium on commercial solar.
well, that Dearborn County just done theirs at that meeting because they filled a gymnasium full of people.
So 72 out of 90 counties have a moratorium
Yeah.
when I looked up.
Well, and I think a lot of that is the moratorium can only be, to up to 18 months, is that right, John?
A year.
A year, is it just a year?
Usually a year is
Usually a
considered.
year, and then you cannot, I don't think you cannot renew that, I don't think.
My gut feeling would say this, there's not really any specific statute on it, it's just what a court would deem appropriate. If you're gonna extend it more than a year, you better
Have a
be
good
able to show
reason.
good faith that, hey, we are in process, we're working on it,
Yeah.
we're making headways. But if you just keep kicking the can down the
Right,
road and
right.
ignore it.
Well, and I think
everybody's
that's the
gonna say,
thing, I think a lot of them are just trying to get the right answers, that's what we need, get the facts, instead of everything you hear, I mean, because you hear so much.
So when was the moratorium placed on solar for Ripley County?
June of last year?
That was
No,
for
I'm sorry,
That's on
Battery.
batteries, not on,
They just
last meeting,
last meeting.
2 meetings.
2 meetings ago, 2 weeks ago.
2 meetings ago on a Friday, day before
And
President's
that was
Day.
in a commissioners meeting?
Yes,
and that's a moratorium on,
all of it.
Data storage, battery storage, solar, the battery was left as is, I think,
Batteries.
to not go over the year.
okay.
So,
That's what I recall here.
Included data too.
so that, yeah, because I watched some of it, I don't remember what else they said. So does that mean our year started from 2 Fridays ago?
So,
On the whole kit and caboodle?
Well, not on battery, that was back
Because-
in June or July.
And solar was before that, wasn't it?
Well, there's already a solar ordinance in place, but no, they just placed a new one on solar.
But they put a moratorium on any solar? Okay.
so I guess another
All that
question
work
is,
wasn't good.
So we
just say we got a solar field here in Ripley County, and, something happened, flamed up. So our fire department's gonna go out there and fight it and this and that. Now, all of our fire departments basically are volunteers, okay? So do they come to the county and ask for some funding on certain things? I mean, as far as, do they have to buy special equipment to deal with this kind of stuff? You see what I'm saying? I mean, I just,
Chief.
you know what I'm saying?
County cannot give them any money.
So
Well,
it would go to
years
the town.
back in Madison, that's a EP substation. We had a $6 million reactor explode. Literally,
So
it
if a
shook
solar
the
field
whole
came
hilltop at
into
Madison.
that area,
2 fire
would you
departments
get
showed
more
up.
of a chunk of change out of that property tax? Out of that 20,000 would.
Go ahead.
Anyways, this reactor exploded. It had a short inside the bus bars, inside what they determined later on. AEP sent guys from the power plant up. They would not, this fire chief, I can't remember, DuPont, whoever it was, got there first, said, I'm in charge. And the guy cut him off. He said, you're not entering this fence till I give you the okay, because everything's still hot.
Yeah.
Even though you have a fire here, it's still generating electricity over here. So till, like, the guy from Duke gives you the okay to cross that gate, they're not allowed in.
Well, and it's no different than when you go to a house fire and there's just a meter hanging on the house. Legally, you're not allowed to pull
We're not
that
allowed to
meter.
touch it, no.
You gotta call Duke
Duke,
or
right.
RMC and have them come out and cut it. And that's why, and, a lot of places now are requiring disconnects on the outside. I mean, the modular homes was always had to have a disconnect. But now, some of these areas and stuff are, and that could be another change, you know.
I think
That-
they all should have.
I do too. And I mean, and I heard something, this is talked a year or so ago, that the state somewhere, state level, federal level, was gonna, they're talking about putting fire alarm systems, sprinkler systems in homes. That, I can't see that ever happening. Not really, because
They talk about putting hoods in houses, making it required.
You
Well,
got a phone kid?
I get that, but I mean, that's to a point. But can you imagine what a sprinkler system is gonna add to a house?
But they wasn't necessarily talking about sprinklers.
Yeah.
They were talking fire suppression, so they was talking about power system.
See, that's what they had to do down
So
there.
it
They
wasn't
started
just
spraying
water
water.
suppression, it was.
Problem was, this thing burned.
Like an Hansel system.
Yeah.
Like in a restaurant, you got the
Right.
Hansel system that
Well,
goes off, in fact,
it had
hood
66,000
detects it,
gallon
you know.
Areas in rural country don't
So
have
all they
much
was
water.
doing was
I mean,
washing the oil.
I really
in
think the
fire.
disconnect is probably the best way to go, and I don't know how you add, I know the county can add stuff to the code and stuff like that, but, there again, you know, that's at another
Yeah,
day,
set
we
up
need
a port.
to, you know, we can talk about something like that.
Go.
I still think we need to do a little more research on this,
All you gotta do is
you know,
table it
and,
and whenever you're ready.
you know what I'm saying? Don't you guys, I mean, I think
Yeah,
we, you
I
know,
do.
and because I think we should dig it deep enough to where, you know, but like I said, I could see, and I don't know how you would do it, if you get the county, you can't give money to the fire department, but if a solar field comes in here and the fire department has to go and spend $150,000 on special equipment, if it's nothing more than suits, if, you know, to deal with these batteries and stuff like that, I don't know, I'm not a fireman,
You're
you know,
doing a fee schedule, you can put that in there.
you know. I mean, that's some of the things that I think really needs to be, and I'm not trying to discourage the stuff coming in, you know, but at the same time,
They're used to
let's, you know, we don't have to go all the way, you know, just maybe, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it just,
Well, you need to have, you need to cover, we need to.
we're not being filmed, are we?
Yeah.
Are we? Okay, well, I'm sorry. No, but I'm just, you know, I'm just trying to make a point, you know.
Right.
One thing maybe to think about, in the state statute regarding battery storage, there is one, and it basically says that any battery storage unit that's in place has got to follow this NPFA, right?
Yeah.
National Fire Protection,
And that was 550, I think.
in FPA.
585 or 80?
Was it 550, 585? I've got the,
Yeah.
I might have that here.
We talked about it in tariff review, and then they also, as part of that statute, I believe it indicates that they will provide training to the local fire departments who would possibly be called upon to respond to anything at that site. It's mandatory by statute, I think that they have to do that.
You went there all the time.
I
So
see
now-
the statute on that.
Batesville, the city of Batesville is separate than our Ripley County, from Ripley County, right?
Well, they're not under our planning jurisdiction, but obviously, I think they'd have to be included because the city of Batesville may respond to the Duke Energy substation. And,
That's their jurisdiction.
Yeah, yeah.
and if you take like the Hoosier Energy substation, that'd probably be Napoleon, but it
That's
could
a big
also
one.
be Greensburg and Osgood.
Oh, yeah.
Delaware.
Delaware.
Westport.
I mean, that's the one on Delaware Road out there, that's a pretty big substation.
Bottom line is, my thought would be, any of these departments that could be called upon under mutual aid
Would have to be.
to any particular site where something may be placed, they'd all be under that, they probably all need to receive that training. And I think that would be at the cost, according to statute, of the,
People putting it in the system.
the BESS, the battery energy storage system.
Yeah.
You got fire departments around here that's operating now, local fire departments that are operating now, that none of their guys have, not even the basics of training, you know,
For like the cars.
for like anything.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
and like,
I think it's pretty obvious, you don't put a battery fire out.
Right.
No, it's phone. They got,
Because most of those batteries have their own oxidizers that provide the oxygen.
yeah.
I was telling them to have, that Ben, the chief, he can come in here, he knows the NFPA standards, he's at Indianapolis at least once a month listening to it. He would be great to come in here
Right.
and he would know all that stuff.
See, that's what they done at Madison. They started watering. Well, it's got 66,000 gallons of vegetable oil in it, and it's burning.
oh, yeah.
Well, all
Like
you
a
do
grease
is
fire.
pushing the fire down and on the ground and out the creek, so we had to make them set a bat up, and they had to foam it, which they didn't like, because it made a big mess, because they was in the mud. But anyways, it burned 14 hours,
Yeah.
that transformer
Sometimes it just has to burn out.
did. And that's what happened. It finally got down, they could put it out.
Do you remember on the news, what is it, 2-3 years ago, there was a cargo ship that was hauling vehicles from Europe
Yep.
to America, and it caught on fire,
Bad.
and it burned for like, what, a week or two?
Oh, yeah, it was like,
Didn't put it out.
Did it ever
I
sink?
guess that some of those were EVs, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It's all EVs, is what,
All?
yeah, most of them was EVs, Mercedes and.
back when the cars had aluminum blocks,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, did you ever get magnesium on fire?
Well, that's it, the magnesium, they had the magnesium. We had one when I was at Dillsboro. We ended up, the county highway come with a load of sand and dumped on it.
It's so bright you can't stand to look at it. It's like looking at an arc on welding.
Exactly.
Anyway.
All right, so we need a motion, I think, to table this again.
So move.
Now, if we table this, I mean, are there any rules about us tabling and on this? Because I know,
No.
I know on a variance, if we table
Yeah,
it, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
When something's tabled, it's tabled until somebody moves to take it off the table.
Okay, so do we have a motion?
So move.
Now, if we don't have anything on the docket next month, since this is tabled and it's still old business, we will have a meeting, right?
If you want to.
Or we'll
You
just,
can be ready.
we'll table it kind of like
Until-
indefinitely until we
Have,
deem the next time we're together, we're like, hey, we've got some good stuff to
But-
talk, you know, let's untable it and let's talk about it.
But if our battery storage is up in June, we need to have our ducks in a row before then.
Well, then,
So they're gonna, I mean, well, there you go. So we need to, I guess, do some.
no pressure, just get it done.
Get her done, man.
Okay.
Been slacking for
Yeah, I know.
matter, come on.
All right, I'm trying to think when my next vacation is. All right, so we have a motion to table it. We got a
No,
second?
I'll
do we
second
need,
it.
do we need to amend that, or do you want to put it with, table it until next month?
till next month, yes.
So then either way, we meet up
Recess
and
and have
help.
another meeting next week.
Got it down for next month.
Like it.
Next month, okay.
Okay.
Because do we have?
And you're gonna have, we're gonna have a meeting next month, I can tell you that. So,
Where we are now?
Well,
that couple that was the first one here on planning, they gotta apply for a variance,
Oh, special exception, here.
yeah.
I'll give you guys some homework to do, because I don't want you to take my word for it. I went to Indiana Gateway, did a property tax calculation for Ripley County, and just for kicks, I punched in Johnson Township for sales, because that's where we're sitting here. And I put in agricultural land, there's a place where you can do that. And apparently their tax rate for Johnson Township is .14339 per the total value, or $1.4339 per hundred. At $2,000 an acre is an average agricultural land price. That tax bill would essentially be about $29 an acre, $287 and change. And let's say if you had 500 acres, that'd be $14,500 of that agricultural land would net the county in property tax. Again, look at this, verify. I presume this is correct. It's Indiana Gateway. That's where all our stuff gets uploaded, budgets and all this stuff. But it could be wrong. 20,000 if the valuation is at the .143339 is $287 per acre, times 500 is $143. So basically, it's it's about a tenfold
Right.
increase in property tax.
And they would just pay, that company would pay the difference between what the farmer paid
You'd
and
probably,
that.
let's say if somebody owned the full 500 acres, the farmer would pay $14,500 and the other company would pay $143,500 minus $14,500. That's the way I'm understanding. And also, there's a article out of something up in Michigan that talks about this, that said, if, and I don't know if this is the way it works, I'm just telling you what I've read about a study on it, is that if you exceed your maximum levy, like what your maximum tax amount is that you're supposed to collect, you're allowed to then, I don't know if it's just in a certain area where the solar usage is placed, or if it's countywide, but you can use that money then to reduce property taxes across the board.
In the area that's,
Either in the area or countywide. That one I'm not clear on.
okay.
So don't quote me on that one, because I'm not certain based on the way I read that. But I think that, I sent that to you.
People might not be quite opposed to it
So
if they did that.
could a company approach the county and say, hey, we want to put a 1,000-acre field in, can you give us a tax, what's that called?
Usually though, with a
Abatement.
tax abatement, you have to have not just construction jobs, you have to have ongoing jobs to justify the abatement.
And there's not enough employees involved in one of them solar fields for the county to really
Once they're put
be able
in,
to issue that, you know?
No, I mean, it's,
Well, they may have the solar panels and the battery pack stations and the data centers all in the same field.
So according to this, the way I'm reading, if on a 500-acre plot, if they pay 143,000, the county may get 2,000, roughly a little over 2,000, if they get 2% of the property taxes.
I guess.
You know what I'm saying, on a 500-acre plot, so.
But bear in mind, it's property tax across the board, that, the lion's share of property tax, I think, does go to the school systems, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah, the school system
80%,
gets like, what,
75.
30% or something like that?
more
I
than
mean,
that.
It's more than that,
Yeah, I mean, they get the bulk,
yeah.
you know. And then, then you got county, and then you got township, then you know, it just keeps on going down, I think, so.
I guess one thing I'm kind of thinking of here, I don't even know if it's worth mentioning, but gosh dang, I lost my train of thought. On this, they talk about the possibility of that happening. And this was never brought up in the original solar ordinance, because I wasn't permitted to even address publicly, even as a landowner. But here's the one thing you guys have never addressed in that, the planning commission or the commissioners, anybody. Because again, I wasn't permitted to speak on it, and it probably should have been. But the point is, you're talking about a lot of construction that's gonna go on in a certain area, and a lot of truck traffic across certain county roads. They're probably no different than when the state does the detours on county roads. Typically, they go out, they videotape the roads before and after, and there's a bond that's posted for maintenance and repair of roads. Just to, the damage that's gonna occur during that construction period. I mean, if you wanna talk about reasonable things, that's something in my mind that's reasonable. Basically, we'll let you build here possibly, under certain circumstances, but if you tear up our roads, you fix our roads. But
I know the state does it.
Well, and I'm gonna tell you something.
Nobody addressed
You
it.
can run up to Newcastle, or in between Newcastle and Rushville. It's when you go up, and I think it's 44 that you turn, and then you go on and head north to Newcastle. When you're going up.
Yeah, there's
Okay, there's like a little L shape, but if you go straight, don't turn to go to Newcastle, go straight, like it's not even a half a mile, there's one of them solar fields that, I mean, it takes up probably 4 county roads. Okay, and I mean, it's unreal. And when they were putting that in, they controlled every dump truck in a 100-mile radius of that place. And quarries, I mean, I know a guy that was doing a little addition on a school up there, couldn't get a load of gravel because everything was going to there. And I mean, them roads was reduced to mud, I mean, sand, dirt road, basically, you know, that county road was. Now, I don't know what was past the solar field, how many houses back in there, but if they, you know, I'm sure they had to replace them kind of roads and stuff like that.
Well, I think that's part of
But-
what, that's part of something you would negotiate as long as the decommissioning bond that's reasonable and effective, because that's the only thing you need to do is just make sure that if and when it comes to end of life. And it's,
Well,
I mean, a lot of people said, what if they file bankruptcy? And I'll just say,
Well, you get that bond,
well, you get the bond, but here's the thing.
not
Do
collecting
you
anything.
think that another energy company wouldn't go buy something for 10 cents on the dollar in a
Exactly.
bankruptcy sale and keep it running?
But the roads, they have to be fixed before they actually put the thing online, I would think.
That's what,
You know.
that is something you would
You know what I'm
put
saying?
into
I mean,
place.
yeah.
That those need to be completed
Right.
within a certain time, or they post enough bond for the cost of the county, so that they
To
can
do
just go
it.
hire a mayor or bro or whomever gets the bid
Right,
to go out and put them back into the shape they were,
okay.
as good or better.
All right, so we decided to table it, right? Okay, then everybody voted, all in favor, raise your hand. And let's see what we can figure out. And we'll talk about it again next week. So,
I'll make a motion that we accept the applicant's findings and facts as the board's finding and facts.
second?
I'll second.
Okay, next motion.
You didn't call for a vote.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Who wants to say?
Sorry, it's almost past my bedtime, guys. All right, now we need one more motion.
I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
Second. Second. All in favor?
You want me to have Ben come for the next meeting?
If he wants to, yes.
That way you can get the NFPA standards and stuff